I think the best way to describe the way I feel right now is alienated from my home country.
I'm actually from South Carolina, so right in the Bible Belt area, and there's been a lot of controversy within the past few years that I've only recently been able to understand, and I've only recently evolved to the point where I feel like I can connect with everyone from multiple perspectives. So after the news today, I felt like I was more distressed for my friends back home who are Muslim, who are African American, who are LGBTQ.
My roommates in the other, we went out to the common room, and none of them are American. 2 of them are Swedish, me and another girl are Indian. I'm a permanent resident in the United States. I've lived there for 4 years, so I basically know I'm the closest thing in that household to an American citizen. Even though I'm a legal immigrant, I'm not allowed to vote. And everyone was, these people aren't even American, and they were crying and shocked.
I mean, it's easy to say I'm shocked, but I'm actually not shocked. I never thought Hillary was gonna have an easy win. I knew it was going to be a hard battle. I didn't expect a Trump landslide. I was hoping for a Hillary landslide, but I would have been happy with just even 270 to 269 would have been great.
I'm not terribly shocked, personally. I think a lot about Gil Scott-Heron, who's a poet, musician, who I've always loved, who says that America leads the world in being shocked, but does not lead the world in determining the cause of shock. So there's never really a reflection on how we get here and what the background and the history of the country is. And so I think when those things sort of get overlooked, it's easy to be shocked and then just get back to daily life, right?
Part of the problem, I think, is that I am originally from Washington State, and I am an artist, and so the people that I surround myself with have a particular viewpoint, and especially through things like Facebook and other media that has been curated to seem a certain way and please the audience, I didn't see how big the problem really was.
Being an Italo-American and having lived in Italy for over 20 years, I think I've never really experienced what it means to be under a presidential rule, but at the same time it's so encrypted in what I am and as that American part of me that what happened this election was such a shock. I mean, if I had ever somehow imagined of moving back to the United States, I think this sort of really tore out that dream of I don't know, of what America represents to me, and maybe that is sort of distorted by some kind of nostalgia that I have, and maybe it's not real, but at the same time it's precious to me.
And I think that, a lot of things that this specific campaign and this victory, because it really is a victory, right, carries with it are things that actually have always existed at the root of the culture in the United States. And in all honesty, I don't think I've ever really talked very directly about this, but I left the United States 16 years ago, in part spurred by wanting to step away from the kind of racism and xenophobia that I experienced on a daily basis, the police oppression that I experienced almost my entire life, and the kind of paranoia that's built in culturally, especially I think coming from African American culture, thinking about the legacy that exists in the United States that we carry with us. It's a pretty problematic one that I think allows a lot of things that right now are at the surface of politics, right, to feel very much like they've always been there.
I'm not so terrified of Trump the man so much as the country that enabled him to get this far. And I'm more scared of how America got itself to a point where where a cartoon character, where a bigot and misogynist and racist and homophobe and xenophobe was able to rise to the most prominent office, arguably, in the world. And I feel so alienated from the American voters who voted this way.
Oh, tears. I do think that this is going to give us a lot of new perspective, some that even I haven't contemplated yet, and I feel like we are going to be able to come together to overcome whatever challenges are faced.
However, I think now it's just time to regroup and move on and think about the 2018 midterms and maybe, you know, get Congress and Senate on our side. But before that, to tell you the truth, I don't fear Trump per se. I mean, I know he's not the right man for the job. He has no experience. He's crass. He's a businessman. He wants to run it like a business, but he's going to soon find out that politics is not run like a company. He can't, you know, fire people that he doesn't like. He's going to have, yes, the majority in Congress, but it's a very hostile majority. The Republicans are all shades of gray. And most of them are against Trump. They've distanced themselves from him. So it's not going to be an easy job for Trump either.
I'm not that scared, but my parents, having, you know, they were very excited about citizenship, and now they're trying not to talk about it.
I will never understand how so many people are so guided by fear and by suspicion of all that is different.
I think that the awakening in the consciousness that's happening right now on numerous cultural levels is a much needed one, right? So, and I'm not saying I'm like in any way happy by the results. Actually, I think it's devastating. But I think that I'm hoping if we can find sort of a silver lining in this thing, it's that the awareness of what the U.S. actually represents a lot of times culturally is this. You know, so coming to terms with that, like that, if we need to grapple with that stuff, right, then let's do it.
Having a president that I don't like doesn't scare me because I know there's other branches of politics that will take care of that. What scares me is the people that voted for him, the people that decided all of a sudden that they didn't want a professional person at that level. That racism was okay, that sexism was okay, that it was okay to molest women, that it's okay to discriminate against Muslims, discriminate against blacks. And I think that is going to stay with us for quite a while. Kids are watching this kind of behavior and learning that it's okay to bully, it's okay to rape, it's okay to beat up black people. There's a rise in this kind of violence. And that's going to be very, very hard to eradicate.
And I'm also worried about what that's going to mean for Europe in general, what kind of consequences his election will entail. So yeah, I'm just, at this point, we can only keep our eyes open, and maybe it's the moment to, I'm not saying make a revolution, but start to realize that politics, this is what is happening in politics because we've stopped caring and we've stopped listening and we've stopped trusting our politicians.
My family and I have been in the country for about 4 years now, and next year, because it has to be 5 years before you can apply for citizenship, and that's what we were planning to do next year. As of now, my parents are still they're still saying, we're going to apply. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. We're not going to get this again. If we forfeit our green cards, that's it. But my dad is also a little terrified.
I just think people just want to relate. So they found someone with Trump who talks like them, who's one of them. He's not one of them. That's the thing. I think they're going to find out the hard way that he's not. It's going to be business as usual, if not worse. Because it's going to be business as usual, but without the experience behind it. So
I think that people really need to realize that seeing this and what's happening in the rest of world politics, that we have to start listening more, and we have to start realizing that
how politics have been done till now there's something wrong with it.
I feel split in two. I feel happy that I have residency here. I can be away from the US while I feel like it's imploding, but then the other side of me wants to go home right now and like fight in the street and like organize, and yeah, done with armchair activism.
We do need to speak our minds. We do need to have hard conversations that people avoid all the time. And we need to kind of examine the fact that a lot of what is represented by this victory is actually a big part of our day-to-day in terms of the culture that's been created in the United States.
Past is past. Trump won. Okay, let's move on. Let's reorganize and keep fighting.